Hello, gentlemen. How are you guys doing today?
Good, good.
Good.
Good. And we have Adam Blondo and Blake Armstrong. And Adam is the pastor of Calvary Christian Center in Auburn. And Blake is the presbyter. And you are in Nebraska City, Blake.
Yeah, Cornerstone Church in Nebraska City.
We just want to talk to you about your network DAC 2-year process that you went through. And the goal of that is to encourage and equip a DAC pastor to help his church get to general council status and to get momentum. Adam, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your family and when you came to your church.
Yeah, so I was previously a associate pastor, youth pastor in Montana, and I had finished up my master's degree, felt God call me to something else. And little did I know that something else was being a lead pastor. It was kind of scary. And so me and my family and I, my wife Shamri and there was 3 kids at the time, moved down here after accepting the position, and we've been running ever since.
So, what were your first impressions about the network DAC 2-year process?
It was not as fast as I would like it to be, but it's good. It's a good thing. It really forced me. That was one of the challenges. I jumped ahead on the questions there. Uh, but I thought it was a little slow, but it turned out to be good because when I really had to sit and think about it and think about the things that were a part of the process, it really helps you build that foundation you need to be able to go as fast as you want. Because if you go as fast as you want without some of the things in the process, you'll trip and fall and end up right back where you started.
In the DAC 2-year process, you're to develop a vision and a strategy, correct?
Yeah.
For the next 2 years. And
Hmm.
what would you like your church to look like at the end of those 2 years, correct?
Yep.
So how was that in processing your vision and your strategy?
It was really good because a lot of times we think or we know what we want, the vision or what God has put in us for the vision of the church and for the people. And we kind of like to maybe it forces you or tries to help you speak it out, to share with others, to bring others along rather than you yourself to just try to accomplish the mission and the vision and set up the values. But instead, it makes you be a part of the team on the local level of your congregation, but also on the district level as well. And so yeah, the whole process of we may say like the value or the mission is to go out and make disciples. Well, it kind of helps us to put it into words, put it on paper, and then put it into practice.
Yes, okay. And you mentioned team, and I just want to talk a little bit about the network team that was assigned to you because the goal was not to just put you out there on an island and say, here's the DAC 2-year process, go get it done on your own, but you were assigned people. And so I'm just going to bring Blake in because he was not only your presbyter, but and church board member, but also your coach. So Blake, can you speak to that a little bit?
Adam actually came into the DAC process after we had started it with some other churches. So he was a little bit behind a lot of the other churches that we started. But the thing is, when he came into our network, uh, first of all, he was a delight just to get to know and meet him. Uh, but the thing about Adam that really stands out to me was how coachable he was. He was very receptive to the process. Uh, he had questions, but once the questions were answered, he just really stepped up and took each step at a time. And he was usually working faster than the quarterly rocks that we had set up. He would be working ahead. So every time I met with him, he not only finished what we had talked about in the previous meeting, but he was already moving forward onto the other things that we were getting ready to do. So he was just if you look at it as a student teacher arrangement, he was an excellent student.
That's great. So Adam, who else was on your DAC church board?
Yeah, so it was myself, Pastor Blake, and then Pastor Tim Boatwright in Fall City. And their expertise, their knowledge, their wisdom was incredible. It was invaluable. I needed it. Again, I'd never been a lead pastor before, and so to have two in my corner, constantly cheering me on, sharing their nuggets of wisdom. I can't tell you how many times I called Pastor Blake with just the question, or texted Pastor Tim, or other people within the district that were helping along the process, like the general or the executive presbytery, and then just some of the people that I had met along the way through Pastor Blake and Pastor Tim that helped me get connected. For instance, another DAC church pastor, I got connected with him, and we were able to share kind of with each other and how our processes were going along, but also being able to get more help from other pastors.
That's great. So you felt like you were supported and encouraged along this way.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. So let's talk about how you motivated your congregation.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to motivate people, to me, or for my situation, when there's clear mission, vision, values set up, because you have it on paper, so it's easy to, one, keep people accountable if they don't want to, or if they want to go off in their own direction. It's easy to point people to, no, this is what we agreed as the mission, the vision, and the values. And so most people, when that's put up for everybody to see, and it's talked about, and you're building up your team, it's kind of a rallying cry for people to come to and to work towards together. So having those mission, vision, values set out, and later part of the process is strategy, and it's building up a team. Well, it's easy to build up a team when you have a common goal for the team to strive towards.
It's a 2-year process for a reason to develop all those things, but it's also to work through challenges. And so can you just tell us one or two of your personal challenges and the challenges of leading people in the DAC 2-year process?
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges was when I was a youth pastor, I had double the number of people that were in the church. And everybody wanted to volunteer and do these different things. So one of the challenges is kind of people kind of want to initially fight back against the culture change, or maybe they're a little bit more standoffish. But finding those leaders in the church, and that's something that Pastor Blake could really help me out with, is how to identify those people and getting those people on board. Because I remember early on, Pastor Blake had talked about there's leaders in your church that either don't know that they're leaders, they may not be on like a volunteer team or on the board or anything like that, but people watch them, listen to them, and what they have for the church. Well, identifying those people was definitely a challenge, but once they were on board with the mission, the vision, the values, everything kind of smoothed out. And it being a 2-year process is so important, because these things take time. As much as accomplishing one is good, but if you keep running and running and running and not focus the time and attention that's needed towards the process, then it kind of falls in on itself, or you get set back because you didn't put the adequate amount of time or attention into either building your team or adequately sharing the vision, mission, values.
Great.
So those are some of the challenges that I faced.
Great. Blake, I know as a coach, your assignment is to, of course, encourage, especially towards the challenging times. What are some attributes that you saw in Adam that you could work with and to help him develop and encourage him through some of the more challenging times?
Susan and I were talking about this today, because I was sharing with Susan about doing this with Adam and with you, and so she's gotten to know Adam and Chambry, and just a great family. But whenever you have a new couple come in and they're stepping into the role of leading a church, especially if it's the first time they're leading a church, you're always hopeful, but you're always wondering if they have the character traits and the skills and the attributes that you need to really lead a church. Because sometimes someone might want to do that, but they just may not be wired for that. And it was such a delight to work with Adam and with Chambry because they really illustrated the not only the necessary character, but also the skills and the wiring it takes, because it's more than just preaching on Sunday morning. There's a lot of administrative things that you have to do. There's a lot of organizational things you have to do. There's a lot of influence. You have to learn how to not manipulate, but how to influence people for the sake of the kingdom. And it was just really wonderful watching Adam work and see their family grow into that leadership role, to see other leaders stepping up and catching fire with Adam's vision. And it's just been a real delight. And I'm so glad he's real close, because we still text each other every once in a while. In fact, he just texted me because we're opening a childcare center. He just texted me because we had our celebration. He texted me on that Sunday afternoon encouraging me. And it seemed kind of backwards, but it's like we're co-workers for the kingdom here in Southeast Nebraska. And it's just a delight.
Yes, that's great. What was your celebration like when you went to General Council?
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. Not only did we celebrate the church being renewed and coming to General Council status, we also had baptisms that day, and it was kind of really cool to have the church go from, you know, kind of a death to life experience, but we also had, I think, 5 to 6 people be baptized, also going from life or from death into life. And so it was really cool. We had that. People were clapping. We were dunking people in the water, and they're coming out with arms up. So a few people were in the splash zone. And then we had cake. We celebrated. We had a meal together. And it's probably been my favorite Sunday so far being here. So it was a lot of fun. People really, it was a big moment for people. And I don't think they realized how big of a moment it would be for them.
That's truly awesome. So I have to ask you, Adam, would you recommend this DAC process to any pastor?
Yeah, I would recommend it to any and every pastor, even if you're not a DAC pastor. Getting the 2-year kind of walkthrough with all the rocks and everything, because it'll help you take a look at your church, how you run things, what are some of the things, you know, do your people know your mission, vision, values? Do you have those set out? Is it time to tweak something? Is it you know, time to reorganize, to re-rally the troops? And for DAC pastors, go through the process. You know, put your nose to the grindstone. I know maybe it'll seem a little slow, or you just want to hit the ground running, but these things are important to give churches the foundation that it needs to grow. And again, I recommend it for DAC pastors, non-DAC pastors. Anyway, just take a look at the walkthrough and see, you know, if you can glean anything from it.
Yes, and I would encourage any pastor out there that, or even ministry, any ministry, to contact Adam or Blake if you have any questions about how they went through the process. But I just appreciate you guys coming on and just celebrating what God did in your local church there. So it's just awesome to have quality ministers in this Nebraska network that are striving to reach people for the kingdom of God. So thank you, gentlemen, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.